Brought to you by the Capital One Savor Card. With Savor, you earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining, entertainment, and at grocery stores. That's unlimited cash back on ordering takeout from home, or unlimited cash back on tickets to concerts and games. So grab a bite, grab a seat, and earn unlimited 3% cash back with the Savor Card. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Fictional friends, and welcome to another episode of Fully Booked. I'm Megan.
And I'm Shyanne.
And we are closing out our coverage of Margo's Got Money Troubles this week.
I'm a little sad. I feel like I needed more. I was like, I just enjoyed them so much.
I have good news for you.
Oh, excellent.
It has been renewed for a second season.
Yay.
Yeah. So, because I can tell you that, like, kind of based on what I'm aware of from the book, the story's not finished. And they gave a couple of little indications at the end that I was like, okay, this is coming. All right, I wasn't sure.
So did they cover the entirety of the book?
A large portion of it, yes. There were definitely some differences, which we'll get into when we get into like the spoilery bits of stuff. But there were some parts that were kind of cut entirely that I'm kind of wondering if they will tack on later. And there's at the very least one that I get the feeling we are actually going to get later based on what I saw, especially in the last episode of the season. So I think that one's going to be a little different. So that's good, at least. But yeah, we'll chat through kind of these final. We did part one before. So if you didn't listen to it, you should probably go back and listen to it first and then come back over here. But we did the first 4 episodes, and now we are doing the second latter half of the season to close everything out. And hopefully we can finish up all of our thoughts about everything and maybe what our expectations will be for a second season of it and kind of what else we'll start getting too. Will be kind of cool. Yeah. All right. Okay. So do we have anything else? Should we just get into the meat of it? All right. Spoilers, everyone. So many spoilers.
Beep boo, beep boo, beep boo.
Spoilers. Like I said, this follows the latter 4 episodes of the series, which kicks off with the whole gang of them basically headed to Vegas for Cheyenne's wedding to Kenny. We start with all of that, and then we kind of continue down the line. This kind of leads into, I guess, some of the bigger plot points that occur throughout the course of the rest of the season, right? Which are Shyanne and Kenny getting married, Margo telling Shyanne that she's doing OnlyFans. Right. Everything that occurs with Jinx's relapse and the addiction that he is dealing with, unfortunately, and the latter half of the season that we kind of really ramps things up in terms of the struggle that occurs because what is his name? Margo's idiot guy who got her pregnant. Mark, thank you, Jesus.
His name is Mark.
Of course it is.
No offense to all the Marks out there.
I'm sure a lot of you are great.
But it's such a name, and this is Mark.
Yeah, pretty much. And Mark and his mother basically petitioning for custody of Bodhi and like all of the additional pressure that puts on things while Margo is still working towards like really establishing herself with her OF account and like bringing an audience in and getting more subscribers and doing all kinds of stuff like that. So yeah, so that's kind of like what the overarching kind of side of things looks like. I guess from a standpoint, if we're going to kick things off from a standpoint of like these, I guess, latter 4 episodes versus the first 4, I really found that's it. They really upped like the amount of shit going on in these latter episodes where I was like, oh my God. There's so much.
It was hard to watch, especially like the before last episode with, everything going on with like the custody battle and like, that kind of kicking off and Jinx. Like it was just heartbreaking.
Trigger warning for like, if you're here, I'm assuming that you've watched it, so it would be weird, but there's a trigger warning for obviously like addiction and an overdose because he does overdose at one point in that episode, and it's really sad.
It is really sad. I gotta say, I've said this before. This is like Nick Offerman's like performance of his career, man.
Oh,
Like,
if he's not nominated for a
oh
bunch of
my
shit
god.
for this, I would be shocked. He's
Nominate him for a
incredible.
fucking Oscar for this. Like, can we? Because he
Can we do
is,
that for a TV show?
can we do that? Can we make an exception this time? Because he is he is fantastic. Like,
He's so good.
in, you know what? He does such a good job of like, in that episode, and I know we're probably going to get into it, and I'm probably getting ahead of myself here, but it's
Yeah, it's
while the
okay.
thought is
No,
flying
no,
through my
do it,
brain.
do it. Put the thought out
Um,
there.
what in that before last episode where he goes to the methadone clinic and they're asking him about his work injury that
Yes.
led to his opioid addiction, and they're like, well, what kind of work? And he's like, does it matter? And they're like, well,
I wouldn't be asking if it
I
wasn't
wouldn't be
important.
asking if it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
And he's like, I used to be a professional wrestler. And like, you can just tell that he doesn't want to answer this question because he's not taken seriously.
Yep.
Whereas if he had been like because I genuinely, in the moment when he said it was a work injury, I forgot that he was a wrestler. I was
Right.
like, in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, construction work, or like, like a labor, like a mechanic,
Yeah,
or
like
like
labor
something,
intensive
you know?
role of some sort.
And then when he kind of reminds you that, yeah, he's a wrestler.
Yep.
I was like,
Oh, right.
they've genuinely like taken the humor, or the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the non-seriousness of
Mhm.
wrestling out of wrestling in this show, because it's like,
Oh
it is
gosh,
a job for some people. Like, they genuinely put themselves through it to be
they
their
do.
best
And
selves.
it's for entertainment purposes. And
It
yes, a lot of
is.
it is staged, but a lot of these people like ruin their fucking bodies over
Yeah.
time for this, especially the old timers, like the people when there
Yeah.
weren't as many regulations in
Uh-huh.
place for it and things like that. The shit that these people have gone through
Yeah.
over the years and like how they've wound up physically, and that a lot of them do wind up dealing with addiction issues to things like painkillers, of course, because of these persistent injuries and multiple surgeries and all sorts of like atrocities that have been committed in the name of, maybe decent, maybe fucking shitty plot lines
Pretty much.
between two people on a stage.
Correct. And it's like, well, once you get into it, like somebody like Jinx, what else is he gonna go do with his life?
Correct. Yeah.
And like, that's why he keeps coming back to wrestling, and we see it in one of the episodes, where he ends up,
Where
down on the
he
mat and
where
he
he
can't
hurts
get
himself,
up.
and this is
Yeah.
what happens, right? This is what leads to the relapse that he experiences and stuff because he hurts his back again.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen Nick Offerman do anything better. Like, I've kind of liked him in pretty much everything I've ever seen him in, but
Yeah.
this is like another level, I find.
Yeah. Like, it was like that episode of The Last of Us that he was in that was
Oh,
like, oh my God.
I
Like,
can never watch it again because I cried for like 30 minutes of that
oh no,
episode. It
I
was
can't.
terrible.
I can't. It was so sad, but he like took that level of acting and brought it to this.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, this man just needs to be in everything now. Like, I need to give him an Oscar.
Yeah.
Like,
Very much. Very much. I was also really happy in these latter episodes for us to be able to get more of Michelle Pfeiffer
yes.
doing everything as Cheyenne. I found like in the first 4 episodes you get her, but for such a heavy hitter in terms
Mm,
of a cast member, I was kind of like, okay, I'm waiting for a little bit more. I know that, like, like I mentioned in our previous part about this, they have kind of toned her down a little bit from how kind of fucking mean she is in the book. Like, I think
yeah.
she's terrible in the book. She made me so mad. Whereas I find that there's more nuance to her in the show.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate that. And it makes sense to me because, again, it's really difficult to relate to a character if you just think they're fucking awful the entire run of the series. So I really like the levels that we get to the character, but it was really great to see kind of the struggle that she experiences, particularly after the reveal that Margot's doing OnlyFans and
Yeah.
she is completely against this, completely flabbergasted by it and just appalled by the entire situation, leading through to like a sort of reluctant acceptance of this to a degree, and a realization that, again, like as a mother, like she has failed in multiple different ways herself over the years, so
Yeah.
trying to find a way forward and
Yeah.
stuff too. Again, spoilers, but again, that reveal at the end that I'm really curious to see how that goes into the second season, of the fact that Kenny called CPS
oh boy, was I
about
fucking pissed about
yeah.
that, because I was starting to like Kenny quite a
Yeah.
bit, but I was like,
So
there's no way this man is as nice as he's coming off
yeah, you're like,
as.
nah, nah, nah.
No, no, no.
No.
Mm-mm.
So book spoiler for anyone who's here, but in the book, it is sort of at Kenny's behest, but in the book, Cheyenne's the person who called CPS. It's fucking rough.
Ooh.
It is rough. And there is like a lot of ambiguity at the end of the book in which they've not really made up
Why
over
does
this
he
yet.
call CPS? Is it because of Jinx?
It's because of the OnlyFans stuff.
Uh,
She's so mad about how it will make like her look basically, especially because
she was a
Margot's
waitress at Hooters.
yeah, well, especially because Margot's like doxed at one point and stuff
I
like
mean,
that,
okay,
right? So
sorry.
people have
I need to side note this. If
okay.
you've worked at Hooters, you're fine. Like, I'm not judging, no shade, no tea. My point is, like, don't throw stones in glass houses, people. And like, I know that Hooters, there's no nudity and whatnot, but like,
But again, what Margot's doing, and she keeps repeating this,
it's
is that
not
they're like, she's
illegal.
doing porn, and she's like,
Mm.
I don't have sex with anyone.
I know,
Anyone.
and like, when I was watching this, I don't know what your opinion is on this, and maybe I need to like look up definitions of things, but like, they kept saying she's a sex worker, and I'm like, is she though?
I don't know because cam workers, I believe, are still considered sex workers, and that's
Mm.
like very similar to what she's doing. So, kind of, but I do think that there's room for an argument, I would say, in regards to whether or not she would be considered a sex worker because she's not engaging in sex acts with people at all.
Right. Right. Like, and if she's showing off her titties a little bit, like, I
Yeah.
don't even think she's like doing any sex acts with herself, or not in the show. She's not.
I think we might be leading into that because
Okay.
we've had the reveal
Yeah, I
by
know.
the
We
last
had the
episode of the coochie coo of it all.
yeah,
So
and all. Yeah. I mean, we might be getting into that next, I
yeah.
guess, money wise and whatnot. But
I'm sorry,
yeah,
what does she call it when she said describes it to her mom? Her tunnel of love.
her
That was great.
tunnel of love.
She was
That's right.
we like artistically presenting my tunnel of love. I was like, oh my god, that's fantastic. So
She's so
good.
poetic.
She's very funny. I love that they've kept like the focus on the writing and stuff that she does
Yeah.
too, which is great. And I really love the really great balance of some level of naivete, but also pretty clear, like hefty intelligence and tenacity that Elle
Yeah.
Fanning kind of brings to this character because she just makes her so nuanced and so full of different levels. And I kind of love seeing all of the different facets of it through her, her family and what she deals with through her interactions with Bodhi and, how dedicated she is and how much she loves that kid and just all of the different like aspects of
Yeah.
the personality that you get from Margot. And when she gets like a little bit of a confidence boost because she does get more subscribers
Yeah.
and things and kind of all that stuff kicks off. And how creative she is. Like all the Hungry Ghost stuff, I think is great.
Oh, it's hilarious.
It's so
Like
good.
what is it when in the mediation when Mark is like, "You're having sex with aliens," and he's like, and she's like, "I am the
She's like, I'm the
alien."
alien, you fucking idiot. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good. It's so funny. I do not blame her for leaping across the table at him. I would have done the same. So
It's just like I kind of got annoyed in that moment because I'm like, Margo, you're supposed to be better than your
I
parents,
know.
and like all of y'all are like
Oh my god.
lunging at
But
everybody here.
yes, I mean the handbrake was not good, and I feel like that should not have happened. There's a big part of me that does not blame Cheyenne for that punch to the jaw. And man, she landed like a pretty heavy hitter. That was impressive.
Yeah, but like
But
Cheyenne
but
should
also like
not
no,
have.
but also no. Just
No, like Jinx, I'm not condoning it, but like the man literally like works and represents like a whole industry of like fighting,
yeah,
and
and
so
it's
like
how we solve our problems. Yeah.
yeah, like it's no wonder that that's kind of what he did, and I guess I'm, kind of biased because if it were my father, he would do the same thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, he would do worse. What are you
He would
talking
do
about?
worse. There would be no Mark to speak of afterwards.
No.
But Cheyenne, like, and what you're saying about her character in the book,
Yeah.
you don't even like. No,
No,
no.
I find I guess I appreciate it in the series, like not that she's done this, but I guess I do appreciate it in the series to see that she actually provides a level of support to Margo, and it takes her a while to come around, but she actually does come around, like her showing up to the mediation, doing all those things.
Yeah.
She doesn't fucking do any of that in the book. She does not do any of that. She ignores the problem and is like, don't talk to me until you're basically not doing OF anymore. I don't want to hear from you.
No, I don't like that. Like
I hate
I
it.
am glad that they changed it in a way, because they, in the end, like they showed Margo, Jinx, and Cheyenne as a united front, a family
Exactly.
unit, even though they've got all of their own shit and like nothing is perfect. Like everything that they were saying, CBS and whatnot, like CPS, everything, that was being thrown their way in
Yeah,
episode
yeah, yeah.
7, you're like listening to it and you're like, well, yes, on paper, but like they're still good people who love this
Yes.
little boy. So
Yep.
like that has to count for something, surely.
Well, I appreciate that it really counted as something for the judge.
Okay, we need to
When
talk about that scene though. That was fucking weird with the judge hopping around all over the place.
it was very bizarre, but it does obviously, it's meant to show that it does count for something with that character, right?
Yeah.
Because he's seeing like who can handle this kid and how does this child react to the different
Well, I was
people.
glad that they did that, because as a mother,
Yeah.
at a baby of that age,
Yeah.
even my child who's 18
A
months
little
or
older than that
almost,
now. Yeah.
she's the same. If I give her to you, she'll be fine.
Yes.
If I give her to somebody who she's never seen before, she's gonna lose it,
Or she has, yeah, or like it takes her a few more minutes to get used to
Yeah.
that person being in the room in some cases.
Yeah.
And you definitely cannot hand her right over. She is
No.
not that kind of kid. So,
Well, most kids are not though, and like,
no,
most humans aren't, right?
no. When
That's
you're a
it.
kid, that's all you know is familiarity and people
Well,
who are
yeah,
around you. And that's like you're safe. Okay, good, great. You're safe because you're around on a regular basis.
but that's who we are as humans. Like,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, Megan with her friends versus not with her friends, completely different
I'm a
person.
very different person. Yeah. One thing I did also kind of appreciate, because we're like circling back here, but one thing I did also appreciate about the last few episodes is that, again, because we're not going to get like a full narration the entire way through of everything that's happening, because this is not a book, it's a TV series, that I'm pretty sure anyway, so that there are more conversations that happen, was the reason that the character of Lace exists.
Yeah.
Linda, played by Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that that's why, because this character does not exist in the book.
There's no lawyer.
There's a lawyer. It's a guy. There's a
Oh,
lawyer, but he's a very different character, and he is there for a lot of what happens towards like the latter maybe third of the book, but he's
okay.
not there for, like, he's not kind of as involved in things. He's definitely not like also a former wrestler who's like a friend of Jinx and stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
all stuff that they kind of put together to like make a connection and everything. But yeah, he's not like as involved in the exact same way as I find like Lace's character sort of is. She's also partially there obviously to drive forward conversations
Yeah.
about certain things, right? Like to do with Jinx and the problems that he's experiencing, to do with Margo having to go through this entire kind of battle to see if she can keep Bodhi, like whatever the situation might be. So at
Yeah.
least like that was good, because it kind of gives you like a third party sounding board character basically who's there for that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and like, the whole like kicking Jinx out was really rough, especially Susie.
Shout out to Thaddeus Graham, because Susie breaks my fucking heart. She's so sweet. She's so cute. Like I said, I think I said this in the first part that we did. I adored the like relationship that she has with Margo,
Yeah.
because I just find she's much more of like a tertiary character in the book, and she's there and she's around and she's helpful, but they don't have like the same connection. I think they're
Mhm.
so sweet in the show, and I love that they've made that change. I think that's fantastic.
It's so good because like Margo needed somebody. She
Exactly.
needed somebody to
Well,
ground
after
her.
after the whole doxing that happens and all that kind of shit
Yeah.
there with her shitty friend from high school, who by the way is a shitty friend from high school in the book as well. She also
Okay.
sucks, so
Yeah.
she's always kind of shitty regardless, it
Yeah.
seems. Not in the same way. She's more like at a distance in the book. Like they don't really spend time together or anything. They just kind of talk, but she sucks
Yeah.
also, and it's more directly, I should say, her fault that Margo is doxxed. I think she does it on purpose because they have a fight, and
Mm.
she's the one who like reveals like her full name and all the information. It's really gross, and you're like, oh, what the
Ew.
fuck? Yeah, no, it's no. It would. I think it's a little bit too intense for someone who we did see in multiple scenes. I'm like, I think it would have
Yeah.
been insane for them to do that with her. So I get why in the show they had someone else at the party
Yeah.
do it because they realized who she was, type of thing.
Yeah.
But they do still have like a fight where she basically calls her like a gross slut, pretty much. So
Yeah. Yeah. I
and you're
mean,
like,
that's what she's leading up to, isn't it?
pretty much, yeah. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so all of like that stuff that happens, and then yes, like the petition for full custody happens
Yeah.
on Mark's side. That's it due to the fact that they're calling Margo an unfit parent. In the book as well, it's the same thing. It does like his mom's there, but it does come from him a little bit more. And yeah, he does have like a very high and mighty reaction at first, where she's like, "Do you really think I'm an unfit parent?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I like the mediation session. What I really found interesting about that interaction was that I found that it really did showcase like Margot's age, because it kind of brought us back to the fact that she's like 20 years old,
Yeah,
and she's up against somebody who's what, in his like
mid.
late
He's supposed
30s.
to be in his mid to late 30s. I think he's like 36 or 37 in the book.
Yeah, and so just based on that, based on his background, his like, educational upbringing, his socioeconomic upbringing. He's had a wife, he's got kids, like all this. He's a professor. Like her up against him
Hmm.
in that moment, she's saying to him, "Do you really think I'm an unfit parent? Like, why?" And it's just interesting because I think it would not have been the approach that I would have taken, but I'm in my
Yeah.
mid 30s at this point, and
That's a little
so
different, that's
it's
it.
very different. But for her, like, I think it was showing that through all of that, she was still kind of seeking validation from him almost,
Sort of, yeah, or
Yeah.
just, I guess, surprised enough about everything because it's true, for someone who was like, "I literally need you to sign an NDA and I want nothing to do with this," like 6 months ago, it's suddenly like, "Ta-da! Now I
Yeah,
would like
because
to
his
be
wife
involved."
left him now, so,
Yeah, because his wife left him and he doesn't have primary custody of his other children
which
either.
also, like, really surprised me that he was trying to get, like, full custody of Bodhi, because I'm like, "What are you gonna do? You're just gonna further, like, trash your relationship with your kids that you already have?
Yeah,
Like,
I
what,
I
okay,
I
fuck
know.
them, like, I'm gonna start again with a new baby? Like, what?"
Yeah, all of the decisions that Mark makes just in general are pretty
Questionable,
questionable just
to
as a
say the
whole in
least.
general. He's just I have to give the actor credit because like he plays the character very well because you're so fucking irritated with him the
Yeah.
whole time. I was.
I certainly was. I'm
Oh
like,
my
"Fuck
god.
this guy, man."
Yeah, no, he sucks. So I will give him that he does like a great job at it because
Yeah.
it's not easy to also toe the line without seeming like a supervillain, basically,
Yeah.
like just seeming like a
Well, he
piece of
was
shit.
pretty supervillain-esque for most of this show.
I guess partially, but like not in a cartoonish way.
No, like, in a pathetic, like,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
firing fuck everybody the fuck up kinda way?
Yeah. Yeah. But it was overall, I found it was like even keeled enough that I was like, okay, I can buy it. That's fine.
Mm, fair enough.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that's it. So, like we said, all of this leads and culminates in the sort of final scenes of the episode, which take place at the courthouse where they do have the hearing about it. The judge is like, I get why they did this for plot purposes, but the judge is way too over the top at this in this scene at
I
the end.
was
I was like,
like, "Why
no
is
one would
he
fucking do
jumping
this.
all over the place?" Like,
Yeah.
no judge would do this.
Absolutely not. There's no way.
I
But
guess he was
anyway,
trying to show how fired up he was.
I guess so. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. He came in and he does. Don't get me wrong. He, really puts everyone in their place by basically pointing out literally everything about them, where he's like, what the fuck is wrong with all of you? Why are we even here? Which is fair. And that's
Fair.
fine.
Yeah.
They go through the motions, and obviously because Bodhi has never been around Mark in the first place, he immediately cries when he is handed over to him and wants to go back to Margot, which, and I will give the judge that he does say, look, this kid deserves to know
To
his
know his
father.
father. Yeah.
So he's like, but she's maintaining full custody and he can have him 2 weekends a month. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Yeah, and, so a couple of thoughts that I had when that scene was, like, taking place.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, I was like, I wonder if Mark is gonna make an effort to get to know his son, like, like, before the judge said, "You have to know your son," or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I was like, part of me was like, this man, for all intents and purposes, like, he has asked for full custody for whatever his motivations were. Like,
Hmm.
he's not an idiot. Like, he has 2 kids, so he understands what that entails
What this
to
means.
request
Yeah.
full custody of a child. And so I was like, okay, so on some level, he does want to know his child,
Yes.
and I'm like,
Agreed.
so maybe he's had a change of heart because his wife has left him. And like, now that that's been taken out of, the equation,
And
he's
he doesn't
kind of
have
being a bit
his
more,
other children, like, full time or whatever. It's like, I need
yeah.
something to fill the void. I have no idea.
Maybe, but I was kind of like, I guess at the end of the day, like, well, he says it like I'm a pretty good dad. Like, even
Yeah,
though like I suck in other facets of my life, I am a pretty
true.
good dad. So like probably he does genuinely enjoy being a father. And
I
so
think
that's
so.
probably part of what motivated that. And so when I was watching it, I was like, maybe he does deserve to know his son a little bit.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I'm pretty sure that and even the vibe in the book is sort of similar in the sense that he actually does seem to genuinely want to be around his child.
Yeah.
I can't really fault him for that, obviously. So I'm like, okay, fine. Maybe this will be a
The
good thing.
beginning.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe this will be the beginning of something good. Because in the book, that is kind of like where things are left off in the sense that he is kind of able to, and she does say, like, I don't want you to like not know him at all.
No. No. Her anger level. I can't remember who said what just before she says, "I am his mother. I'm his mother." Like,
Yeah.
who somebody said something about like, I think Mark was like, it's such a gift, like, to have this child or something, or like
Yeah,
he
that's
came
it.
out with some poetic bullshit and she just tore it down by saying like, I'm his
And she's
mother.
like, yeah, and that's because that's it. Then she takes him back after the crying happens, and she's like, yeah, because I'm his mother, and he wants to be around me.
Yeah. And that's how it is,
Yep.
Um, so yeah, so like I thought I loved that because they did such a good job of showing the through line of Margot's development
Yeah.
being driven by the fact that she is Bodhi's mother.
Yep.
She would do anything for him. And yes, she is an OnlyFans model, creator,
Hmm.
whatever. And she's got this fun side to her that is part of her being 20 years old.
Yeah.
But when it comes to being Bodhi's mother, she does not fuck around.
No, and you know what, I appreciate that they took enough opportunities to shoehorn it into the series because I find in the book it's not pointed out to Mark often enough that like you fucked a student. A
Oh,
student.
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm glad that the judge started with that. Like, you, sir, impregnated a student. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Like,
thank you.
and now
Like,
you're
can we
fucking here
stop with
asking
this
for
victim
custody?
bullshit here? You
Well,
know?
that's it, because he's just kind of like, and now you're here asking for custody. What the fuck's the matter with you?
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, so all of that ends, and then basically that's it. We're kind of sort of being led into next season where, like we mentioned earlier, it is revealed that the CPS call, because there was a call to CPS and there were people who showed up to evaluate the home and Bodhi's condition at one point. Of obviously the assumption was that Mark had done this, which is completely
Or his
understandable,
mother.
or
Or his,
his mother,
yeah.
absolutely. But it's revealed right at the end that no, in fact, Cheyenne's new fucking husband, Kenny, did this after having solemnly vowed to help protect the family if he could do so. And you're like, oh, and you think this is you doing that, don't you? Like, and with his full fucking chest, he does.
Oh, he does. He said,
Yeah.
well, I had to make sure, like, somebody had to check,
Yeah.
like, I'm the only level-headed one
And you know where
here.
this comes from? And he can say whatever he would like to say about, like, I really did want to make sure that Margo was taking proper care of Bodhi, blah, 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 and whatever bullshit. No, he sees how close Cheyenne and Jinx are, and it bothers him.
100%.
It
And
bothers him.
that was to punish Jinx
Yeah.
and to get Jinx out of the picture.
Yeah.
And like less and but unfortunately all that's done is it's moved Jinx into Cheyenne's apartment.
Literally, and possibly which we will see in the next season, I get the feeling, alienated her from him.
Well, yeah.
I don't know what this is going to do. This is so much better and so much more interesting to me than in the book, because this gives an additional layer to it. And in the
Yeah.
book, like, Cheyenne and Jinx don't spend any time around each other, so I love that we've been able to get some of it in the
Yeah.
season.
Well, I mean, I think like for me when I was watching this and I was seeing Kenny's like, so at the beginning of the season, Cheyenne keeps being like, Kenny's like religious and like she's kind of like tiptoeing around
Yeah.
him kind of like, And at first when she was doing that, I was like, oh, maybe he's like a judgmental prick. And
But then
he
you
like
meet him and you're like, he's kind of stupid, but
he's
like,
kind of
whatever.
dumb. But then I was like, well, maybe she feels that way because she doesn't want to like put her like new life in jeopardy or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
okay, like that's like a level of insecurity that she's dealing with. And then they're showing like his character development of like, oh, like, I'm here for the family. You
Hmm.
brought me into the family. Like, I'm here to protect Bodhi and
Yeah.
Margo if there's anything I can do, and
Yep.
blah, blah, blah. And so, like, I'm watching this going, wow, like, what a lovely man. And then this shit happens at the end, and I'm like, and there it is.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Disappointing as usual. Okay, that sounds about
Okay.
right.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
very curious to see where that goes next season.
Yeah.
And then the other component that I'm curious about will be kind of to see how they continue to sort of develop like the Hungry Ghost stuff and everything that comes with it. But now that she's kind of kicked things off with like some more explicit content to a degree, I'm very curious to see what will happen because we got a little bookie Easter egg at the end of the season because this is a book thing that has not been covered in the series, probably because they wanted to really like stick to the family relationships and everything in the series, which is understandable.
Yeah.
We get a little Easter egg right at the end of someone who immediately hops on called JB, who starts sending her tips
Mm,
and is like, oh, I'm so excited about like the new subscription, blah blah blah, because she was like, subscribe to my VIP channel basically
yeah.
for more like explicit content. And someone with the handle JB does it and starts sending her money, and I was like, oh, okay,
Mm,
because there is somebody named JB in the book.
okay.
It's real.
Interesting.
It's real fucking cute. It's so cute in the
Oh,
book.
yay. Well,
It's
Margot deserves some happiness, man.
yeah. I,
Like,
I mean, like, and it's ambiguous in the book. Don't get me wrong. Like, it kind of ends and it doesn't at the same time to a degree. So there's a lot more like open endedness. I'm curious to see what they'll do with the show. But a lot of what it is like really sweet. Anyway, I'm really curious to see where this goes in a new season. So that'll be nice.
he deserves some happiness.
Agreed. She deserves a not Mark. Fuck off, Mark.
Oh, God, he sucks.
Mark can go kick rocks.
He really can. I mean, when, at the end there where she was like, "Oh, yeah, I want him to know you and stuff." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm a really good dad." I'm
She's
like,
so
"They better
nice.
not fucking end up together because I'm gonna lose my shit."
I would be really surprised if they did that. That would be a terrible choice.
Terrible.
Yeah. I don't know. She's a lot more forgiving than I would be, but at least you know what? It's good. Hopefully this just means that things will be more positive for Bodhi, which is probably the most important part of all of this. So
Well, also because the judge ruled that, that he has to take him 2 weekends a month, I would assume she now gets alimony.
yeah, I think so too. Or
Yeah.
well, child support payment. But yeah,
Yeah, well,
yeah,
whatever. Oh, yeah, sorry.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that. But yeah, so at least that also worked in her favor. So him trying to
Correct.
screw her over kind of screwed him over.
Good. As it should
Good.
be.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. So I guess final thoughts, wrap things up. I really, really liked this. I think it was a really like great adaptation. I love the way that they kind of expanded on a lot of the characters, which is always fun with something like a TV show since you get to follow multiple POVs and not just like
Hmm.
the narrator's perspective. I love that we got to do that. I love that we got to spend more time with some of the characters. I think that the ensemble as a whole of the cast is really great.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see, I guess, going beyond, partially maybe beyond some of the source material, kind of how things will continue to develop in a new season and what that'll look like.
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm curious as well. I'm not gonna lie, like, even though I said like, oh, I'm sad that the season was over, I wanted more, like blah blah blah. I would have been fine with the story like wrapping up where it did because I think they did
Fair.
a good job with it.
Yeah.
Aside from like the loose end of Kenny being an idiot, but like you can kind of infer what would happen next, right? Like
Like
Cheyenne
potentially,
and Jinx and like
yeah, you can kind of figure out maybe where that will go. That'll be
yeah.
really interesting to see too. I wonder if that relationship will continue to develop over
Mm,
time. So that'll be cool.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Overall, great show. I really enjoyed it.
Same.
I don't know if I would have enjoyed the book as much. Like I feel like the book would have been a much harder read.
I could see, especially for you are a mom, so I could definitely see that this would be a little more like it wouldn't be that great of a read. You'd probably be
No.
really bothered by a lot of what happens throughout the
Yeah,
course of the story. So, yeah, so maybe better to stick to the show.
I think so.
Anyway, hopefully If you've been following along, you also have really enjoyed it. But I mean, like, listen, even if you didn't, you can just let us know. If you really like the book and you're not a big fan of the TV show, you can let us know on all of our socials. We're over at fullybookedca. You can always check out the website at fullybooked.ca. We have reviews and recommendations. All of the episodes are archived there, and you can find them all there as well. So that's always fun to check out. But in the meantime, guys, keep on reading.
Thanks, everyone.
This message is brought to you by the Capital One Venture X card. Venture X offers the premium benefits you expect, like a $300 annual Capital One travel credit for less than you expect. Elevate your earn with unlimited double miles on every purchase, bringing you one step closer to your next dream destination. Plus, enjoy access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. The Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.